have any other questions about the underground stream or the waterfall?
Like mud.
So right here we actually have a flowstone formation. So it does look exactly like mud, but this is hard. It just feels like a slippery, wet rock. So flowstone forms when water comes through the soil and then comes through the limestone. It actually picks up a mineral called calcite. So as the water drips into the cave, the water mixed with the calcite will run down a surface like this, and the water deposits that calcite onto the surface. So these formations are just really, over time, a lot of calcite deposited. So you can take a look up here as well. We have some ribbon stalactites. Ribbon stalactites are formed through that same process, but they look a little bit different just because the water is flowing in a straight line down the rock instead of dripping onto it like it is in this case. Are naturally formed. These ones were this wide. Once we get further into the cave to the more narrow parts, there are a few spots in how the cave was originally formed. So the cave started forming about 450 million years ago. There was a shallow sea that covered this area. This was the late Ordovician time period. And where we are currently was a tropical climate. We were a lot closer to the equator. And all of that water is what primarily formed the cave. So as that water came in through the joints, it created an underground stream running through this limestone. And then over thousands of years, the cave's passageways were eroded away. So long process.
That one because it's just stuck with you nose.
Yeah, people notice that when I do this. It did fossilize, but the limestone fossilized, or limestone lithified and turned into this rock. So those were fossilized, so that's why you can still see them there. Like a bunch of little snakes over here.
Crazy how it works.
Yeah. We have had over 400 weddings down here since 1935. So when first people came down here, they thought it looked like a wedding chapel or a church because of the pointed ceilings, and then they thought these indents in the walls, one here, one there, and then the one right behind you there, looked like 3 windows. So it's a stretch, I will say. But yep. So this actually, they just changed this last winter. The altar used to be up there and everything was white, but now they changed it to look a little bit more natural.
I don't think everyone wants it because it's wet.
Yeah, they are white, yeah. But yeah, we've got over 400 weddings down here, and they're still having weddings here. The first one was in 1935, but we had 3 last summer, I think, so people still get married down here. If you take a look underneath here, you can see some of our unique cave formations. These are soda straw stalactites. So soda straws get their name because they are hollow in the inside, just like a straw. And they form when the water goes through the center of them and then deposits that calcite in a little ring at the bottom when the water drips off. So that's how they grow to be really long and skinny. These ones are about 90 years old. So they've been growing for 90 years and they're only...
that's long.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Take forever to grow.
Those little things.
Chamber. So as you walk through here, if you want to try to make a really low sound, like a low hum, sometimes you can hear a little bit of an echo over here. I can't get my voice to do it, but...
Bella, hum.
You can hear it there.
Do a little louder. Would it happen louder or just low?
Yeah.
I can hear it.
That's cool. Really hard, I think. I wasn't here for that, but when they did, I mean, a lot of ladders and been kind of similar to today's octopus or squid. In this case, it would have had a cone-shaped body, which you can see here, that's the fossil. And then it would have had tentacles that came out somewhere over here on the right-hand side. So these could be some of the largest creatures of the time back then. There have been fossils in this area of cephalopods that have been about 18 feet long. This one's pretty short. We think this one was only about 4 feet long. But they could be very large. Well, here, this is a ribbon stalactite formation. And like I said, these are primarily made up of calcite. But as the water runs through the soil, it does pick up other things along the way that actually make these formations fluorescent and phosphorescent. So if I shine a black light on it, you can kind of see how it looks like it's glowing in the dark, especially up here.
Looks like blood veins.
So this is fluorescence, and then if I shine my light really close to it here,
Nice.
it actually holds on to that light energy for a few seconds, and we call this phosphorescence.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So we're not exactly sure, we're not 100% sure what makes the formations do this. There are a few things that would do that. Lead is one of them, and phosphorus is one of them as well. We don't think it's phosphorus because generally phosphorus glows a little bit more pink, so we think it's lead, but we have not had it tested for that. And then most of the formations in the cave would do that as long as they're that lightish color. So like the first flowstone formation we saw was that. It's nearly impossible to see from here, but it goes like 30 feet up to the ceiling, so it's really big. And then right below it here, we have some stalagmites. So stalagmites are the formations that grow from the bottom up, while stalactites grow from the top down. We don't have very many stalagmites in the cave because we have pretty steep walls, so they don't have a lot of flat places to grow, but they did start to grow here because they have this little ledge, so you can take a look at those as you walk by. So, I'm going to move this way a little bit. I don't know if in the back you can see too well, but it fell from this spot. We think when the cave was still filled with water. So we think that it kind of felt like it was in a fishbowl, like a pebble, where it would have fallen back and forth in the water and landed right there. You can tell that it's been there for a really long time because there are some stalactites growing from where it fell from, and that would only happen after it's been gone for a very long time. And it is growing into the wall a little bit right there too.
Do you ever hear like noises in here from upstairs?
It's not from upstairs. It's eerily quiet down here though when you're down here by yourself. So when you hear anything, like even a water trickle, it's not so loud. And yeah, if there's a group that's like, I could probably hear a group if they were being loud that's close to the end of the cave. There's an active flowstone formation on the left here.
Okay. So what happens if that gets too big? Do you just shut this off?
I
know it probably
yeah,
won't happen for
right.
like 200 years,
But if it did, probably they would probably widen the other side of the wall, this side.
Watch out, there's a hole there.
Yep.
Kind of look like a shell of a turtle. How far down are we now on the surface?
I would say about 100 and 7. So here's the first one. You guys can go ahead and take this flashlight if you'd like to look at those.
Oh, I see it.
So crazy.
They're like, are these it? No, just right here. That's so cool.
Feels like we're descending.
It does.
Alright, so right here we have the top of the fissurite fossil. So you can still see the side here that we've been seeing.
Kind of remind me of burlap.
Yeah, like a
The
burlap sack.
texture. Yeah. Cool.
A shell, like a tan shell right there. This would have been similar to today's horseshoe crab, just a little animal that would have lived on the seafloor with a shell that kind of looked like that. It is a little bit rare to find trilobites at this depth, the depth that the sea would have been at. So we like to point this one out.
I think it looks like a snake's belly.
Yeah, it
A
does.
snake's belly?
And then you can definitely, yep, with the flashlight, that'd be perfect.
It does. So crazy.
Dirt on the riverbed as well. That water, as it kind of came up in this room, it kind of eroded it away, so it didn't come from the top. It was as it was running through, it would fill up, erode some of the limestone and come back down, and that's how it got like these lines on the wall, rather than a swirling motion, but we don't really know. A few different kinds of stalactites here. Right up here we have some soda straw stalactites. These ones are larger than the ones we saw in the wedding chapel, but they're still pretty small. Eventually they will grow into these larger carrot stalactites. The one looks like a giant carrot right here. And then on this wall over here, we have some bravery and shark tooth stalactites. And then as we get further over here, you can see the ribbon stalactites on this wall. And you can look and see what's on the side there. So on this time, everyone's getting a great spot right now. So I'll turn on my flashlight to start with here, and then once I actually turn on the lights, I'll have everyone turn off their phones and watches so it stays completely bright. And as you see, it's going underground there, so it travels underground for. Yep. So forming another cave there. Underground.
We'll have to come back and forth and do this.